Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Ashley Bookishrealm. Welcome. If you're new here, welcome back. If you have already been here. So what you're about to see is a day in my life. I did one of these about a year ago, and quite often I get questions about how I read so much, not just from people in this community, but also people who are just I interact with on a daily basis. People ask me like, how do you read so much? Keep in mind, I am a single parent and I also have a full-time job on top of other responsibilities, and I run 2 channels. So I'm showing you exactly how I get reading done, how I prioritize reading, and what ends up happening, kind of like my daily routine. And so I just wanted to give you insight to that. Understand that everybody is different. I know I shouldn't have to preface the video by saying this, but I'm going to because I think that it's a good reminder. Everybody's reading styles and speeds are different. I just happen to prioritize reading a lot. It's what I do for my job, as well as just it's my safe space. On top of that, I would like to point out that I do rely on other forms of reading outside of just physically reading. I do read digitally, which you'll see in this video. I also do read via audiobook, and I do have a position that allows me to listen to audiobooks in a way that's probably not typical for everyone, which is perfectly fine. You know, we all have different ways that we operate. I read a lot of variety of books. So on top of that as well, you know, I could be reading 5 to 10 picture books, or, you know, it doesn't take me as long to read a graphic novel, a manga, or a comic book. But at the end of the day, it's all reading, and this is just so people have insight. So the last time I did this video, I talked about how I read 200 plus books a year. And now, because of just work-related things and a whole bunch of other factors, I am up to reading 400 plus books a year. If you do not read this much, it's fine. Reading is reading. I'm happy that we are a community that embraces and enjoys reading, but because I do get the question quite frequently, I thought I would revisit and do this video again. I hope you all enjoy. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and if you're looking for ways to support the channel, all of the links will be down in the description box below. As always, I hope you all enjoy. Okay, so we're doing this again. I'm sure I have done some sort of sit down intro, and so this is just me starting the day. So it is not 8 o'clock yet. I typically am at work by 8 o'clock in the morning, but I have to drop my daughter off first. So we're up pretty early in the morning just so that we can take our time and we're not rushing to get to school or to work, and you know, we just have a comfortable amount of time. So basically, like I stated in the intro of this video, I prioritize reading throughout the day. I am extremely busy. I am a parent. I do work full-time, and so I think sometimes people are like, well, how do you end up reading so much? And so, of course, some of the things that I talked about in the intro is that, you know, I do listen to audiobooks, and my job, or the position that I'm in right now in terms of my job, permits me to listen to audiobooks while I'm working. So it's not really super difficult for me to make it through a book during the workday. That doesn't mean that I rush through books and race to finish things. I just read whatever I feel like reading in the moment, and what I get through is what I get through. Sometimes I take a break from listening to audio and I end up, you know, listening to music. And so I'm just going to show you kind of throughout my day, from, you know, the time that I wake up in the morning till the time that I go to sleep, how I end up reading what I read within the, you know, confines of a day. So the first thing that I'm going to be working on today is I'm very interested in Aaron Hunter. If you didn't know, Aaron Hunter is a children's, this I would say more so middle grade. I feel like these books are more middle grade, especially because of the content. But I am very interested in Aaron Hunter. It's a pseudonym for a group of authors that have created this extensive world that takes place from the perspective of animals. And so they're most well known for the Warrior series, but they also have a couple of other series that, well, the Warrior series has so many different parts to it. So there's a lot of Warriors books, but then there's also the Survivor series, which I think is based on like bears in North America. Then you have the Survivor series is the dogs. And then the Seekers, I believe, is based on American bears. Then you have Braveland, which is based on animals that you would typically find in like safari, and then, or savannah, in the savannah. And then the latest series that they've been working on is the Bamboo Kingdom that focuses, I believe, on bears that you would typically find in it's not North America. I believe that, I don't know if, see, I don't want to say specific area because I don't know if it's all panda bears, but I know that the first book is about a panda bear. So I'm not sure what region they are focusing. I'm thinking Asia, but I could be wrong about that guess. So they have a lot. In the Bravelands actually has a spin-off. The Seekers has a spin-off. The Survivors has a spin-off. So there's like universes that they're creating with different types of animals. Will they ever stop? Probably not, because they know that these books sell, they circulate well in libraries, and it makes some money. So I have read one of the Warriors books. I am going to go back, but the Warrior names I feel like are a lot more complicated because it's a lot more characters. And so I kind of want to either blend read those or read those physically. This seems to be a little less complicated than the Warrior series. I don't feel as overwhelmed by the audiobook as I do with the Warrior series. So I started the first one in the Braveland series that focuses on a cub who is kind of kicked out of his group, the Pride, because his father is battling another lion. This is not supposed to happen. It's like literally in the beginning. His father is battling another lion for the ability to lead the Pride, and things go wrong. And so he's kind of kicked out, or he's trying to survive. I'm going to be honest with y'all right off the jump. This is very much so Lion King vibes. I felt like I was listening to little, Simba running away from Scar and Mufasa dying. It's very Lion King. And I think one of the major criticisms of the series is that it's very much so Lion King. So, but yeah, I'm going to continue on with that. I can't, of course, film me speaking in my building. I just don't, for a lot of different reasons. Because I keep everything separate from my job. I can get some B-roll footage like when I do lunch and stuff like that, and I will be able to check in with y'all this afternoon, and you'll see why I will be able to check in with you this afternoon. But yeah, so once I get to work, I'm going to primarily focus on listening to that. Today is a ordering day for me. It's new release day. So that's what I'll be doing all morning, and so I will be listening to the first Bravelands book while I do that, and I'll be sure to check in with y'all after. Hello everyone. I am back in the car, but I am off. I'm sweating. It is 100 degrees outside. It's so gross. But yeah, okay, so what you basically saw with the previous clips is during my lunch break I read while I'm eating lunch, and then I split my lunch. I get an hour break for my lunch, and so I give myself 30 minutes to actually eat, and then I go walking in a close area to my job so I can read at the same time, which is how I end up getting so much reading done. But I just wanted to update y'all too. One, I'm on my way to pick up my daughter. I am running a little behind, but I'm on my way to pick up my daughter. I have about an hour left of Broken Pride by Aaron Hunter, which is the first book in that Braveland series. It's actually pretty interesting. Like, I think the animal dynamics of the baboons and the monkeys, and then the giraffes, there's elephants, cheetahs, lions, and then there's three main characters, one perspective from an elephant, one from a lion, and one from a baboon, and it interchanges between the three perspectives. And then what's interesting is that they clearly are going to have some interconnectivity, but there's conflicts within each one of their groups. That's pretty fascinating. So I'm enjoying that. The one that I was reading, I can't remember the name of the book because I feel like I'm going to get it wrong. It is and I'm not really looking at my eyes burning so much. I'm like, y'all probably like, girl, what's wrong with your eyeball? It's twitching because it's burning. But it is a dark Latin fantasy romance that I found on KU. And so that one's over 500 pages. So I'm just kind of slowly taking my time with that. So the goal for tonight is, of course, get my child. We're going to go home, have dinner, and I probably will get some things prepared for lunch tomorrow. And I wish my eyeball would just stop burning. Oh my goodness. And then I'm thinking here, let me think. So I do want to finish Broken Pride, and then I have 2 manga that I'm going to attempt to finish. And then I do want to get more of that dark fantasy romance read. So you're kind of getting an idea of how I schedule my reading and how I am able to read as much as I can read throughout a day or throughout the year. This is how it usually goes. Now, is every day going to be literally the same? No. There's some days where I'm not going to really feel like reading, or there's going to be days where I, may read more, or I may read less, or it depends on what I have going on in my household for the evening. So, that's the plan, but of course things can change depending upon how my child's feeling. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick her up, listen to this on the way there, and then I'll do a check-in at some point. Hello. All right, so it's a little bit later because I had to do bedtime and all of that jazz with my little one. And so what I'm about to do, I'm actually doing patron sprints right now. We typically do sprints every Tuesday night for a few hours, and we usually do like 2 hour sprints, like 2 single hour sprints, and then 1:30. And so usually in the first hour, I do just some movement. So for about half an hour to 45 minutes. And so I'm gonna do, I don't know if y'all have ever heard with Grow with Joe. She has this 30-minute dumbbell kind of activity workout thing, and so I think I'm gonna do that. And usually with her, because they're not like super high impact, I usually listen to an audiobook while I do it, and I'm able to focus with an audiobook. I think some people really like listening to music, but audiobooks are okay whenever I do it. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna continue to listen to the Braveland book. I'm 77% into that. And so I'm going to do that, and then probably make a recovery protein shake after, and then sit down and read a little bit, shower, and then I will check in with y'all at some point. But that's what I'm about to do. It's my normal routine, just so y'all can get an idea. Because, people be like, oh, there's no way you can read that many books, and you work, and you're a parent. And I'm like, but we make it work.
I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Don't stare cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me.
Now, am I literally closing and you know, starting this video in the same t-shirt? Absolutely, because that's just me. So as you can see, that was exactly what I do in terms of my reading on a daily basis. I didn't close this out because right after, or not too long after you saw that final clip, I actually ended up getting more prepared for bed. But I did end up finishing two things. So I finished the Bravelands book, the first book in the Bravelands book, which was fascinating. This is the same cohort of authors as I've talked about in this vlog that write the Warrior series, but I feel like this one's a tad bit darker than what I anticipated. I did end up giving it 4 stars. It's definitely Game of Thrones like, except with animals. Very, very interesting. At the time of me filming this clip, I'm already on book 3. So clearly I've enjoyed that. And then I ended up finishing a volume of manga, which was Sasaki and Miyano volume 4, which I didn't enjoy as much as I anticipated. I only ended up giving that one 3 out of 5 stars because I came off of a high of really enjoying volume 3, and volume 4 did not live up to my expectations. I also read a little bit of that fantasy romance book, and I also started another volume of manga. So you can see kind of from the pacing how much I do get read in an average day, and understand that no 2 days are absolutely the same. So there are some days where I read more, there's some days when I read less, depending upon my level of tiredness. It depends on how I'm feeling mentally, whether I am in or out of a reading slump. It depends on what format I'm reading, age category. So there's so many different variations, but I just wanted to give you a brief glimpse at what it's like for me as a reader in this community on an average day, how I manage to read when I, like I said, I work full time and I am a parent at the same time. And so throughout this video, you clearly saw that a lot of my free time, I am prioritizing reading. And a lot of times that is via me listening, or whenever I have my lunch break, I split it in half. So at some point I'm sitting down and reading, or I do my daily walk while I'm at work and I end up reading during that time as well. So just to kind of give you a feel of exactly what I have going on. If you have any other questions or concerns, be sure to leave those down in the comment box below. And I hope you all have enjoyed this video.